Welcome to the Unhealed Woman Podcast, where transparency is healing. I am your host, Jaquana Austin. I'm a survivor of a lot of things, and we will discuss those things because we will be very transparent, which I will get into later, within this episode and many more the episodes to come. I am married with two beautiful, beautiful girls located in North Carolina. And I have a fur baby. Her name is Bella. She's beautiful. And you might meet her in just a little while as well. I'm a huge advocate for mental health and wellness. I like to help with that because I have dealt with mental health throughout my life, and I've witnessed, my mom as well deal with mental health throughout her life as well. So it is very near and dear to my heart to help others to discover different coping mechanisms and things that may help them on their journey. So the purpose of this podcast is to provide a safe space for any Black or brown women that may deal with or have dealt with some form of trauma or mental health disparity. So we believe that there's healing and transparency, and that's just what we're going to provide for you in every episode. So we will embark on a transformative journey of healing from trauma and reclaiming our power. Like, give me that back. Thank you. Each episode will dive into the stories of resilience and recovery, featuring interviews with trauma survivors, mental health experts, and advocates like myself. Our mission is to create a safe space for women to explore their unhealed wounds, gain insight, and find strength in order to heal. That is why we're here, to get our power back and to heal those past childhood trauma wounds, relationship wounds, whether it be romantic relationship wounds or family members and things like that. So we want to welcome you to join us as we navigate the complexities of trauma, share practical tips for emotional wellness, and inspire each other to rise above our past. Okay? And we want to live our most empowered selves and lives. So we will dive into a bit of my story. So I have, like I said before, I have experienced tons of trauma from, childhood. So God has graced me with a beautiful, beautiful experience, which has made me the wonderful woman that I am today. And I provide lots of insight to different women that I support through whatever they may have going on as well. And I've been able to help them during the transformation as well. So a little more relaxed, chill, get together. So I am the product of two high school sweethearts. My parents had me when they were young, right out of high school. And of course, when you're young, there's different things that you go through and learn during those times. So there was a lot that I experienced during those times that I don't quite remember, to be honest. From the age of 5 and before, I don't really remember a whole lot of my childhood. And the reason why, you'll learn in just a second. So at the age of 5, my dad got sent to prison, unexpectedly. So during that time, I experienced what we call abandonment for the first time, which would change the trajectory of my life. So I had no say-so in how that took place or how long it would be before I seen them again and things like that. So that was a pretty traumatic experience for me. So I started my journey of mental health and mental illness because that did, I believe, now that I look back at it, cause a lot of depression and anxiety during that time because I just didn't know what to expect out of this new experience. There were times I would cry for my dad, just wanting to be able to see him as I did normally. And as a child, if you have a father who is active, that's a huge transition. So I learned to accept things that I could not change at a young age. So the experience in itself was a lot to take in, but then you have to learn as a 5-year-old to accept something that you can't change. Like, you have to just adjust accordingly, and that's it. That's literally your only choice. So I had to learn how to release, the things that were out of my control, and was very evident every single day. Okay, it was my reality every single day of not having my dad there. I did grow I was close to my dad's side of the family during that time because they did step up, while he was gone to help with me, pick me up from school, and, take me different places to help my mom out during that time, which I greatly appreciated. And there are lots of memories that I have with that as well. Good memories, great things, great times. But then from the age of 5 to 10, I dealt with a great deal of trauma and anxiety. There were times where I could remember just crying and crying and crying, and my mom having to calm me down because I wanted my dad. As a kid, you want it and you want it now. And so I had a lot of issues with that. And I just became very, very quiet to myself. So it did have a traumatic experience on me because then I internalized a lot during that time. So during this time, my mom was dealing with a great deal of trauma and anxiety as well, just from the experiences that she had as far as trauma, and then anxiety as far as what not knowing what to expect. And I'm sure certain things that I don't really know exactly about. So now she was a mom who was experiencing her own mental health disparities, while her daughter was introduced to her her anxiety and depression as well. So having to maneuver your own as well as your babies is that's a lot, But my mom, she got up and she said, "I'm getting my degree." She went to North Carolina A&T and got her bachelor's in psychology while being a mom. I remember days where she would have to leave and go to school, and I would take her leg and grab it, and she'd drag me all the way to the door because I just did not want her to leave. I would be crying and screaming for her not to leave me. So this would truly set the tone for me because she did graduate and get her degree. So it told me or showed me that no matter what you're going through, that you can still get it done. Don't let anything stop you. No matter what's going on around you, continue to press forward, because the decisions that you make today are going to ultimately determine, things down the line. And so childhood, I would go back and forth and visit my dad in prison, just to see that. And during those times, I would ask myself, okay, why didn't my dad see it enough that he could during the time that he was doing whatever he was doing to get there, why didn't he think enough of me to want to stay with me and to stop those things? However, as a man, I think there's a lot of pressure to provide, right? And so men will, do what they have to do or take the risk that they have to take in order to take care of their family. And I kind of understood that after a few years of, and being away. I kind of tried to understand, what was going on and process what was going on. And so after that, during the time that my dad was away, my uncle stepped in as a father figure for me. He would hang out with me, take me here, take me there, play games and things like that. But guess what, you guys? He had to go away to prison. And so I'm like, oh God, here I am again. I had somebody there that was an example for me, a male figure for me, and now he's gone too. So here we go with the abandonment wound again. So I did go visit him as well during that time. But I remember all the things that my mom had to do, had to sacrifice and things like that. And I completely understand today why she moved the way she moved. Because your children are watching you during crisis. So like, that is one of the things that I use today in my adulthood too, is that your children are always watching. When things get tough and get rough, they're going to use your response as their example of how to deal with things. So we really have to be mindful of how we move, be intentional how we move. When things are tough or where we're not feeling so well, not saying that we have to suppress our feelings or pretend, because it's there for the children to know that it's okay to have emotions and have feelings and work through those. But we want to give them the example or resolution, right? That is a good example, right? So the way that we react or come back from whatever that feeling or emotion or traumatic experience was, right? So I greatly appreciate that example that she said. When I was 10, when he came home, there was a lot that transpired, okay? There was a ton of things that transpired. And this is just a synopsis of things. But when he came home, my sister was living with her mom. There was an incident that happened that caused my dad to want custody of my sister. And he had to now come out of prison to a whole family, then fight for custody of his younger child. So it was a lot going on, because at that time I wanted to put my feelings to the side, right? Because I want my younger sibling to be able to get everything that they need, especially when they're going through a crisis, or a life transition, I'll say. So I suppressed my feelings. I stayed in my room. I cried in my bed. I stayed in my room. If something was going on, I dealt with that on my own. I was very inward with my emotions. I internalized a lot of my emotions. So I stayed in my room. My mom was there, of course, for me in many ways. However, there were times where I just did not want to stress them any more than what they already were. And so I knew that she would try to be there for me, or would be there for me if I were to bring my issues. But I also did not want to put more on them. Like, that's not, I've always done that. So during this time, I felt that I was also experiencing some distance from my dad's side of the family, which I was the first grandchild. I was very spoiled. I spent a lot of time with that side of the family, as I stated before. But that peeled my scab, back on the abandonment issue. Like, wow, what happened to all the gatherings and the picking me up and spending time with me and things like that? I know a lot of things may have transpired as a child that I didn't really know about. However, there's the abandonment wound again. And so when my dad got released, he did not know how to connect with me, right? He didn't know how. He left when I was 5. I am now 10, preteen. He didn't know how to he didn't know how to be a dad when he came home. There was a lot going on. Like, so I began to encountered the spirit of rejection during that time, not even knowing it, right? So my thoughts were, why didn't he love me enough to spend time with me or make, things like that? Why didn't he give me the love and affection that I longed for, right? And now today I understand that this is a task, right, that he just couldn't master. He just couldn't master it during that time. Understandably so. Not saying that it was right. I began to run and find love and relationship with boys, and relationships. And so I told myself, maybe they'll show me some type of affection and the love that I desired from my dad. I always learn for that love from someone else instead of knowing the love and admiration that God had for me, that my mom always tried to instill in me. I was searching in other places, right? So I met my not so sweetheart, high school sweetheart. We were together sophomore year to senior year of high school, and I ended up pregnant, y'all. Yeah. Yeah. So here I am, getting ready to graduate and go to college, and I'm pregnant. Okay, let alone my parents didn't even know that I was having sex. So now I have to go and tell them, hey, I kind of got to tell y'all something. So I let them know that I was pregnant and that I had been obviously having sex, and they had no clue. And told them immediately that I did not want to keep the baby. I felt defeated. I felt worthless. So we decided to go. They supported me in my decision to go. Of course, they did tell me that they did not support abortion. However, this is a decision that I'm old enough to make, and so I made it, and I will never forget that experience of being in that clinic and just hearing the screams of the other ladies in the clinic that were also having a procedure done. I never forget the cramping, the pain that I felt during the procedure. So I was far enough along, I couldn't just take the pill. I had to do the procedure. That was traumatizing in itself. And so after that, I beat myself up. Like, how could I do that to a little human? And it hit me even harder, you guys, when I got my own kids later on in life. Like, wow, how could I do something like that? Not telling anybody which way to go or what to do, but this is my experience. But I went into a state of depression, of not feeling worthy of anything. Like, if I can kill my child, then what is my worth? What am I worth if I can do something like that? And so not to mention the guy that I was with, he did not want me to go through with it either, so that didn't make it any better. So yeah, I had a huge decision to make. I made it. It did give me the worst rage of depression that I've ever felt. And when I did that, I don't know. There was a lot of emotions with it. Well, after that, I went on about life, entertaining knuckleheads. And this one in particular that I ran into, he was rather aggressive, right? And so he would try to get me to drink and things with him. And when it came down to the sex part, he wanted sex. And I said, no. I'm not doing that with you. I don't know where you've been. I'm not doing that. Okay? I don't want to. He still proceeded to he still proceeded to get what he wanted. And so for a while, during the process, I did tell him no several times. But then there was a point where I was like, okay, I'm not going to win. He's much stronger than me. I'm not going to be able to stop him. So, Quana, it's not funny, but I try to, just think of how people could do things like this and walk around like nothing's happening. But anyways, he continued to penetrate me, and I said, you know what? I can't fight, and I can't get this man off of me. So I lay there, and I remember tears rolling down my face, and I just had to bear through it until he was satisfied. Right? So now I have encountered rape. Yeah, sexual assault. I believe I was 17, he was 19. So not only was I a minor, he was an adult in this situation, but he didn't respect my decision. So that comes with feeling, helpless in that situation. Like I couldn't save myself. There's nothing I could do but just lay there. That's not a good feeling. But during all this time, y'all, guess who was with me? Even when I wanted to internalize all this stuff, I still had a strong belief in God and had my faith in Him that all things were working together for my good, regardless of what I encountered, because I knew one day I would be sitting right here talking to you and being able to help you through whatever you're going through. And so that is why I started the Unhealed Woman Podcast. And God has truly given me a lot of peace with my journey. I still battle with anxiety. From time to time, I have had postpartum depression both times with my daughters. And so that's also something that we'll talk about too. So we'll hit some topics on depression, anxiety, the different spirits, spirit of abandonment, spirit of anger, spirit of rejection, all kinds of things, y'all. It's gonna get good and juicy. I do currently talk with a lot of women and work through their issues with them. So this will be a way and an outlet for me to also heal from some things that I still have going on as well, alongside of you. I also encourage everyone to, not to mention, I forgot. I'm sorry. Let me go back. I had little to no therapy during that whole storyline. Little to no therapy, right? God did that. Because do you know how many people did not make it after experiencing things like that? There have been people that have committed suicide. Because of the example that I had through my mom, I wasn't a statistic. I wasn't one of those. And so that's why we'll talk about being a parent and how important it is to lay the floor plan for your kids when it comes to mental health and how to deal with things, traumatic experiences throughout your life. And I believe that, transparency is healing. So throughout our upcoming episodes, I'll also share how I copied, how I coped through different subjects that we dig into. I and my guests have a lot of knowledge and experience that can help you to the other side where you meet your healed self. So let's get it. Let's get into it. So I believe that therapy is vital. So during adulthood, I did dive into therapy, which has helped me dig through past trauma, childhood trauma, and things like that. So I do recommend 10 out of 10 that you do therapy. If you have been through trauma, there is an EMDR that is very good, which is a trauma therapist. It's a different therapy that kind of digs deeper into traumatic experiences, and to try to reconstruct your brain from that. Okay. So a helpful resource for everyone is the therapyforblackgirls.com. This website is a website that has a directory that will look up African American therapists in your area, wherever you are in the U.S. But yeah, this episode was more so of a testament of my experiences. My advice to everyone is that every famine that we go through, so every struggle or battle that we go through, we have to look at it as a famine, right? And all famines have a birth date and an expiration date. And so all of those will come to an end. Just keep God first, read your Bible, and pray and draw near to Him, okay? And He will lead you through the way. So I appreciate you for joining me on this immaculate journey, right, to our healed selves. I can't wait to welcome you on the other side of your mental health journey. Please connect with me on Instagram. My Instagram is Mrs. J Alston, MrsJAlston. And be looking forward to this also being on Unhealed Woman Podcast on YouTube as well. So get connected to us. Talk to y'all later.